As a mom, when was the last time you did something just for you and didn't feel guilty about it? I want you to take a moment and think about this. Hello and welcome to the Marvellous-U Podcast. Today we'll be talking about self-care for busy moms. Finding time without the guilt. Let me tell you a quick story about myself. A day in my life involved playing my role as a mother, a caregiver, a wife, while also attending to my business. And sometimes I'm attending lectures, meetings, or studying. And in juggling these roles, I often find myself prioritizing everyone else's needs over my own. And most times, I have little time for self-care. So finding time to rest, particularly becomes challenging, especially when you are a caregiver also for a child who is fully dependent on you for their personal and care needs. And for a long time, this was my life. I was doing all of this, juggling it all, trying to be the wife, the mom with little children, school run, shopping, cooking, trying to also run my business. And in all of this, very little time for self-care. What is self-care anyway? For a lot of people, we think about a day, at the spa or at the salon. Yes, why those could be part of self-care, but self-care for me is those daily acts that we do that preserve our well-being. So self-care involves our emotions, our physical and our mental well-being. As a mom, you can't pour from an empty cup. When your cup is empty, you will not be in your best self. There's a lot of research in psychology that has been done about the well-being of mothers and how it impacts on their life and on their family. Many research has proven that well-being of mothers is crucial for their own health, for their children's well-being, and for the family. So if you as a mom are not in your best state, it impacts on the whole family and impacts on the children. Findings from other studies provide evidence of the importance of self-care, and a strength-based approach for enhancing self-care assists in improving the well-being of mothers, especially new mothers. So prioritizing self-care is so important. But why do moms feel guilty resting? Why do moms feel guilty about saying no? Why do we struggle with taking care of ourselves? For many moms, there is the myth of the strong mom. But we need to rethink that myth. We have all heard this phrase, oh, she's such a strong mom. She's such a strong woman. And most times when we hear this, it's often said with admiration, and sometimes with awe. But beneath this praise, is it really a strong mom, or are we just playing to the cultural, social, and emotional expectation of being mothers? And many mothers carry this expectation quietly and often alone, because in our communities, strength is synonymous with silence. A strong mom is expected to endure without complaining, to give without pausing, to hold everyone together even when she's hurting, even when she's unraveling, she's coming apart at the seams. She's the caregiver, the breadwinner, the emotional anchor. She's the one who just gets on with it. And for most moms, we seem to be on that role, we are always just getting on with it. But what happens when strength becomes a mask? What happens? Because too often, vulnerability is mistaken for weakness, and sometimes asking for help is seen as failure. And then when you are a caregiver, especially the mother of a child with a disability, many people do not understand how draining that can be. When you are suddenly vulnerable, it's seen as weakness. And most times, it's brushed aside in favor of a polished, stoic image, because people expect you to be a strong mom, because the strong mom becomes the symbol and not a person. But we cannot continue to play to that narrative of the strong mom. Because true strength does not lie in that. True strength includes softness. It includes the courage to cry when you need to cry, to rest, to say, I'm not okay. I remember making a post in support of Mental Health Week. It's okay to say that you are not okay. And being strong should include community support and the freedom to be human. Because when we celebrate only the unbreakable, we risk isolating the very people who need connection the most. And I must say that I found myself in that place where it's like, oh yes, everybody say, oh, you are strong, you're able to do this. But the truth is, at a point, I came apart. I couldn't maintain that image of the strong woman anymore. I remember those days when my children would come back from school and I would be so knackered, like I would be so fatigued. I would look at my children, I'm not able to help them, prepare them for bed and do their bedtime routine. Sometimes I just sit down and I'm just crying. I'm looking at my time. I'm like, when is my husband going to come? Because as much as I wanted to be there for my children, I wanted to be strong, but all I felt was exhaustion. I was overwhelmed and I was just feeling invincible. My children will look at me and they're just, getting on and playing and just wondering, Mommy, are you okay? Are you okay? But they couldn't understand it because my children were little at the time. They couldn't understand it, but I could see in their eyes that they cared, They knew that I loved them even though I wasn't feeling so strong. So strength is not about hiding our struggle. It's about honoring it. So as a mom, if you find yourself trying to pretend when you are tired, trying to the mask of a strong woman, you don't have to do that. You don't have to. Dare to be real. Dare to show your vulnerabilities. Because it's important that you don't carry on that image. Most of us that carry this guilt trap is because of our cultural conditioning. Culturally, moms are portrayed as the people that can do everything. The last mom, we are tireless. We will put everyone else's needs first. So resting or setting boundaries can feel like a betrayal of that ideal. And sometimes the internalized self-talk that we have, I should be doing more or I shouldn't need help, it's often to our detriment. Who told you you should be doing more? Who told you you don't need help? Especially when you are juggling a lot of roles like work, caregiving and household responsibilities. Of course, you need help. But most times there's also the fear of judgment. So saying no to extra commitment becomes difficult. We want to attend every event. We want to attend every workshop, everything. But this can trigger anxiety within us because we are worried that people will see us as lazy or people will see us as unsocial or not caring or not strong enough. But you really don't have to say yes to all of these extra commitments, especially when you know that you are not able to commit to them. And also, we take on unhealthy responsibility. Some moms feel responsible for other people's emotions and reactions. So because you don't want to hurt people, you don't want to hurt their feeling, you just carry on. So saying no might feel like you are letting people down or causing disappointment. But you are not responsible for how people feel or how they react. You can't take that upon yourself. Another reason why a lot of moms carry guilt is the lack of support. And honestly, when rest is not normalized or supported by your partner or your workplace or your community, guilt becomes a default response to self-care. Because you are sitting there like, if I don't do it, who will do it? So these are the roots of guilt that we carry as mom. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be seen as lazy, seen as not being social, carry on this unhealthy responsibility. But all of this guilt will not help us. And I felt those guilt too. Cultural expectation of the strong mom reinforces this guilt in us. In many cultures, the strong mom is tireless giver. She's an emotional anchor. She's the provider. She's the protector. She's expected to endure hardship with grace, raise children with patience, and navigate life challenges without faltering. But this kind of strength is silence, because it's about suppressing your vulnerability and shelving your personal needs and smiling through exhaustion. You know you are not coping. You know you can't handle it all, but you keep going. This social narratives also is reinforced in the media, where you see family traditions and community expectations portrayed as mothers who show emotion. They portray the strong mom persona, and the mothers who show emotion ask for help, while those who do it all are celebrated. So on social media, we always see, this mom, she's this. Like for example, we see a lot of posts on social media, a mother of 5 or 6, going through school and all of that. And sometimes these are done at the cost of our well-being. And this can be intense for single mothers also, especially mothers of children with disabilities or those from marginalized communities where resilience is not just admired, it's demanded. The social narrative is portraying mothers as people that can take it all in, even at the cost of their well-being. But this expectation can be isolating, and it doesn't leave room for softness. It doesn't leave room for grief, for imperfection. But true strength comes from those moments of vulnerability, and they should include the freedom to express our emotion. True strength should include the freedom to seek support, to redefine motherhood on one's own term. The strong mom is not just the one who carries the weight, but the one who knows when to share it. And as much as I saw myself juggling a lot of things, at a point I realized that I had to share the weight that I carried. And what does that involve? It involves asking for help. So instead of feeling guilt, we can reframe those feelings of guilt, because the guilt is not proof of failure, it's a proof of care. The feeling of guilt means that you care deeply about your role as a mother, as a woman, and you also care about your relationship. But it doesn't mean that because you care, you constantly sacrifice yourself. It doesn't require constant sacrifice. Rest is not selfish. It's essential that we are able to rest. I must tell you, I have suffered burnout, and it doesn't help anyone. So prioritizing rest allows you as a mom to show up more fully and sustainably for your family. It's important to set boundaries as act of love. Saying no protects your energy and models healthy self-respect for your children. And that is something that my children has learned. Just knowing that there are times where the boundaries are set. Mom is not available at this time because she needs to take time out. So being imperfect is powerful. Embrace your imperfection. It helps your children to learn resilience, to learn empathy, and to value authenticity. They see you as the real you. They see you when you are crying. They know when you are weak. They know when you can't get on with things anymore. You ask for help because you are not ashamed. You are not portraying the strong woman that cannot ask for help. So imperfect is powerful. So here is your gentle reminder. Whatever you need to do to be able to take care of yourself, please do. If it means getting extra help to come, to help with cleaning, getting support, do what you need to do. Let me remind you, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. This one was difficult for me for a while, but I started practicing and learning to say no. These days, I don't feel bad about saying no. It has become so easy for me to say no because I've learned to prioritize myself and my well-being. There's so many things I would love to do, but I can't do it all. So I'm allowed to be a whole person. I'm not just a mom, a wife, a carer, a whatever. I can't be everything to everybody. I'm just allowed to be a whole person. And the strongest moms are not the ones who never stop. They are the ones who know when to pause. And I think I found strength in my ability to step back and pause. I did not only pause. At a point, I had to stop. I took a pause, I stopped. Some things had to stop. Some things are on pause. But knowing when to pause is a strength also. It's a strength that as mom we need to learn. What are the practical ways we can care for ourselves? During the day, sometimes they are just tiny moments, micro moments of just taking time out to breathe deeply or to journal. 5 minutes of deep breathing or journaling. In some workplaces, it's about 5 minutes of just putting your head down on the table. Just pause. And ask for help if you're really struggling. It's not weakness. Like I said before, if you need to hire a help, if you need to get someone to help with cleaning, if you need to get help with cooking, ask for help. And also build a support network. For me, it's not like back in Africa where you have a community around you. Here, living abroad, sometimes you are so isolated. And for someone like me, I don't have immediate family members around me. And so finding help is often difficult. But build a support network around you. Have people around you that you can always reach out to. And also remember that you are just one person. You are not a superhero. So set realistic expectations for yourself. Don't try to be a superhero or a superwoman. You are one person. You cannot do everything by yourself. I also learned to prioritize sleep and nourishment. This is not negotiable. But for many of us, as caregivers, as mothers of children with special needs, sleep is often a challenge, especially when you have to care for your child throughout the night. You might find yourself losing sleep. And for many new moms also, sleeping through the night is priceless, because most times you find yourself not being able to sleep. But finding those moments to catch up on sleep is very important. But also important is being able to eat well, nourishment. I remember as a new mom, eating breakfast was very difficult, especially when you have to run, do the school run and take the children, to the play groups and all of that. But finding time to really eat is so important. And I began to realize how important it was when I started experiencing anemia. And the doctor was saying, don't skip your breakfast. Make sure you eat your breakfast. It was difficult, but I had to learn to do that, because I found myself living on iron tablets because I was often very fatigued and weak because of lack of nourishment. So learning to eat healthy meals is also very important. And one of the greatest self-care strategy is me time rituals. I know we've heard a lot of me times before, but create your own me time rituals. What do you do for yourself daily? Is it the morning tea, the walks, reading, whatever recharges you? For me, just having the time away late in the afternoon is so important for me, because it helps me to recharge. If I don't do that, I find it difficult to function for the rest of the day. So even if it's just 15 minutes power nap, or just lying down and just winding down, reading a book, or just going for a walk, this helps to recharge me. Please create your own me time rituals, because you really need to take care of yourself. And remember, you cannot show up for others if you don't first show up for yourself. I said it before, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If your cup is empty, you cannot pour anything out. You need to fill yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You need to come to a place of overflowing so that you cannot become useful to other people. You can't show up for others if you don't first show up for yourself. Don't, put yourself at a disadvantage just because you want to be a strong mom or you want to show up for every person. I want to encourage you to take one guilt-free act of self-care this week. What will you do for yourself this week? Let's talk about it. You can't show up for others if you don't show up for yourself first. I would love to hear your story. If this resonates with you, I would like to hear your story. What does strength look like in your life? Have you felt the pressure to be the strong mom? Let's have this conversation that honors the full spectrum of motherhood, the grace and everything in between. Let's begin to talk about it. I would love to really hear from you. Share your self-care wins, on social media with me. Whatever you have done this week for yourself, I would like you to share it on social media. And also leave a comment. Share this message, this video with other people, and also send me a message. Your voice matters. Together we can rewrite this narrative and become women who really prioritize their own self-care. And remember, being marvelous starts with caring for you. So start caring for yourself today. I'll see you in my next podcast. You've been listening to the Marvellous-U Podcast. If this episode resonates with you, please subscribe, rate, and share. It's the best way to spread the word and support others on their journey. And always remember, you are marvelous just as you are. See you in the next episode.